motion that Councillor McKayser, Councillor Langell, Councillor Mooney be the members of the committee in question. Seconded by
Assist. Citizen.
with
Yeah, we're going to be part. They're going to be part of.
be part of the committee. Yeah.
Is that okay?
And we can add council members as we
With added participation if appropriate.
Okay. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that.
He'll second it. Is there any more discussion? Do you, Councillor Dennis?
Question.
You good, Councillor Dawes? No, I'm just asking because the question's out there.
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Question's been called. Oh, no, it hasn't.
Just so I'm clear, there was some discussion about a citizen member. So is the motion also expecting to add a citizen member?
If appropriate. Is that a, you know?
Very appropriate.
Well,
Let's get it right.
I won't advertise a position if there isn't a position. So if it's council's desire to have a citizen representative, then the motion should say and one citizen representative, and I'll go about the process of trying to identify candidates. So.
Okay. You good, Deputy? With
Yes.
citizen?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Question.
No,
Councillor Mooney?
I'm just getting ready
Good.
for the next one.
Oh, okay. Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Okay, so you're on, Councillor.
Just add into transit, we know that the service is going to be stopping on the end of April. Is there an opportunity, I don't know how it works for Utility Review Board and Insurance and Liabilities, to have a continuation of the service if we contact Clarendon and or Linda at the Hope Center? Is that a possibility?
No,
And that's probably all through URB.
it is. And if the carrier now decides to keep
The license.
then that's out.
But if the carrier, not to beat this up, but if the carrier now decides not to use the license and he's not using it, wouldn't the URB take that into consideration in providing another license? Especially if
I
they've been.
think there's a time frame within, but I'm sure, I mean, the question has to be asked. But I know there's a time frame, I think it's up to 2 years or something.
Okay,
like
so I think this process with the transit study, we got to get this on, done as ASAP and see what comes of it.
that. Yeah, good. We have Councillor Langell.
Thank you, Your Worship. Councillor Mooney brings up an excellent point, which I was going to bring up as well. With Mr. Hudson leaving us, as at least the media reports, as of the end of April, there's several factors here. The community will be possibly without transit system service for a period after Mr. Hudson leaves. So I think the question to the CAO is going to be, or staff, I guess, couple of questions. Number one, is there going to be a dialogue with Mr. Hudson vis-a-vis the transfer of the license, which he has? He has been acting as a contractor. I don't know what our involvement is with the license or how it's done, but my understanding is he holds the license. However, I think it's incumbent that if we want to put a secondary backup system in place, as Councillor Mooney suggested, there's Hope, there's the system that we have up in Clare Transit. There may be other operators out there that may be interested in offering a transit system. I really think a priority's got to be made to make sure that the necessary I's are dotted and T's are crossed to make sure that service continues to be offered in as seamless a fashion as possible. That's question one. I know it was a long question, but there needs to be discussion with the UARB. So I'm going to make a motion that this council direct staff to check into the issue with the Utilities and Review Board with regard to the status of a transit service license for the town of Yarmouth in the future, and to make recommendation to council for a go-forward plan effective May 1st, 2014. Where do we go next? Okay, that's my motion.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion? Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried.
Well, my thing is, Deputy Mayor, if I can answer your question, is it's a phone call. You're basically, my intention is not a long drawn out affair. You're going to phone UARB. What is the situation? I mean, I'll do it. I'm just not in that position. You're simply going to phone them and say, what's our next step here in Yarmouth? Some bureaucrat at UARB is going to say, okay, you have an existing carrier. He can either sell the license, give the license back, or whatever, or if you have a new carrier in mind, you need to do X, Y, Z. It's a call. I mean, and it's not my role as a councillor to do that. I think it'd be more comfortable if our CAO or our solicitor did. That's all I'm asking for. And then the CAO would come back and report back to us and say, okay, here's what we've got to do if we want to have a service existing after April 30th. That's the intent of the motion.
Yeah, it is, yeah, it is just a phone call. Yeah, okay. I want to say this too, Councillor McIsaac, I just want to throw this out there. I have been speaking with Mr. Hudson, and he is open to negotiation. He has said that. As of now, we have the letter that says April 30th, but he's open to negotiation on that. But we need to do that study first to see what we exactly. Councillor McIsaac.
Thank you, Your Worship. Well, he's the one that supplies the service, and my question will be to the CAO. Jeff, we have a month-to-month agreement with Hatsabus. It's his company itself to determine whether he wants to supply that month's service on a month-to-month basis. There really is no need to negotiate. We're in a transition now where we're looking at perhaps going a little further with a service that is more fits the needs of our community and our seniors rather than the one that he has. He has a glorified taxi service, basically at 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. That's what it is. He doesn't work weekends. He doesn't work after 5 o'clock. There's really, as far as I'm concerned, there's no room to negotiate. We've had this discussion with Mr. Hudson before. I read the letter that he put in the Vanguard. I read the email, and I mean, he did nothing but, you know, he didn't have a lot of kind words over the last 18 years for, you know, any dialogue with council. It's been strenuous according to what it says in the paper. And I'm not arguing that point. It might have been on his part, but it surely wasn't on mine as I sit around this table. He supplies a service which is a great service for the people that use it from 8 to 4, 8 to 5, 5 day a week. But people that need a service that we're looking for, that's not the service that we're looking to keep, unless he plans on changing a lot of things. But that'll come out in the RFP if he chooses to. For us to negotiate anything with him now at this time would not be fair to him nor fair to our taxpayers at this time. If he chooses to keep a month-to-month till whatever we decide to do, that's up to him. We cannot tell the RFB or RPP the board to say that we want to take his license, whatever it is, because we can't do that. That's his license. And one thing, just hold on a minute, Your Worship. He has every right to supply the service or not supply the service. He's only he's contracted pretty much on a month-to-month basis. If he doesn't want to take the $5,000 which the taxpayers give him for that service, well, that's entirely up to him. If his service is done with the town April the 1st, then that's when it's done. If he wants to continue it on a month-to-month basis, I have no problem with that till we send our RFP out. I'm fine with that. So am I correct by saying what I just said to the CEO on this month-to-month basis, the $5,000? Does he have a signed contract? And is there any stipulations in there where he has to supply the service if he's not going to supply it on a day-to-day basis? Is that any deductions taken from that if he misses a day or whatever?
Yeah, there's a lot there, but in a nutshell, he has been operating on an agreement that was originally established 18 years ago. The only change to that agreement over the years has been on the amount of money he was paid. Now, he did provide on March 26th to council and to the media his notice that he was discontinuing the service, so ending that contract on his terms. Decided to give us 35 days notice. So I disagree respectfully that it's up to him whether he continues. I think that's a decision of council, whether or not you want to engage him. He has a service he could provide going forward for a period of time, but I don't agree that it's his choice to continue to operate. We'll just send him money. I think if we're going to continue, you should authorize staff to establish a contract for that new service beginning on May 1st.
Okay, Councillor Langell, you're on, unless you want to, do you mind if Danny follows that? Is that okay? Okay, go ahead just to continue the conversation, and then Councillor Langell's up. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I keep
okay.
getting-
I didn't mean, what I meant was, the CEO, was that he's the person, the town will determine whether we go forward with his services or not, but it's up to him. He's already gave us his notice. He doesn't have to have a service with the town if he chooses not to. He's already chose not to. But what I mean is he's still going to exist. Hatsabus is still going to be there. He's not just going to supply a service for the town. He can still run his bus, but he won't be receiving any funds from the town of Yarmouth for running his bus. That's what I meant. I didn't mean that we're not going to contribute. I know what he said, but it's his business.
Yep.
He determined already that he doesn't want to have us as a contract.
Thank you. Councillor Langell, go
Well,
ahead.
first of all, I'd love to get this motion off the floor.
Yeah, what is the motion? I'm lost.
To accept the recommendation, my understanding is to accept the recommendation to proceed with,
We did.
that's done,
We
okay.
voted on that.
Then I put my motion was, it's on the floor, which was to direct staff to contact the Utility and Review Board, and that's the phone call,
Yeah, we
okay?
voted on that.
And that's gone. I just want to make sure because it's all the,
Yes.
now the third motion, which I
Yes.
want to do, and this motion is to again direct staff to enter into discussions with Mr. Hudson with regard to a continuation of the service after May the 1st and to make recommendation back to council, because what Councillor McIsaac is saying is a suggestion. I don't know. I don't know what Mr. Hudson's plan is. I'm reading on one hand he's retiring. The next hand I hear he's not retiring. I'm now hearing this morning that he's going to be offering the service as a taxi service. I'm not sure what he's doing. So I really think that well, I don't know, and I'm
Okay.
just saying it would be nice, again, for the CAO to contact him and give him the authorization to see what the service will be, what form a service will take, and how much will it cost us on maybe on a month-to-month or whether basis, or whether somebody else could do the service. I don't know. I just want to make sure we have a number of seniors in this town that need a service after May the 1st, or on or after May the 1st, and that's all. I want to make sure we're moving in that direction, that's all. That was my motion. So my motion is basically to engage, to direct staff to enter discussions with Mr. Hudson as to where we're going after May the 1st, and to make recommendation to council.
You good with that? Is that, okay? Moved and seconded.
Yeah.
Councillor Dawes? Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing. My question is, the onus is on whom here, though? If to contact and offer ideas, plans, is it not up to Mr. Hudson himself? I know that Mr. Hudson and the mayor have been in discussions. They have discussed this. He's open to, he's open. So I'm sure that if he calls and when he calls, you, the mayor, or even the CAO, you're gonna take his call. You're gonna sit down and speak with him. My only concern is, my question is, just how much is on your to-do list, Mr. CAO? How much time do you have? And do we have to direct you to do this, or is the onus on on whom lies the onus to contact whom? He could contact you just as well, and as I understand, through the conversation they had with the mayor, that's ongoing anyway.
I think there's two questions. That he stopped the service, but what I'm hearing over here is there's a concern because there's seniors that need, right? So, I haven't yet, though. Yeah. Okay, so did you want to go ahead, CAO?
Sure.
And then you're up,
that's,
Ken. Thanks.
So with regard to contacting Mr. Hudson, that's on me. I'll look after that. That's not an issue. It shouldn't take a huge amount of time. I will dispatch that duty with great expediency. And as far as UARB, I understand what's being looked for there. So these things are manageable. It's all in the basket, and
Thanks, Rob.
stuff gets done. But I appreciate the question. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm not, I can ask,
Okay,
just wanted to add one last thing.
okay, go ahead, and then if is it a follow-up on this? Because Councillor Landrill's up.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I want to share something, and I'm not shooting any arrows at anybody, so anybody who's starting to load their guns, just
No
unload them
guns.
again.
Go.
The reason that I'm bringing this up is, I understand, we all see what's on your to-do list. We get your CAO task forms on a regular basis, and this is not meant the way it's going to sound, but I still am waiting to hear on something that was put on that list a year ago. That is an indication to me just how much is on you, in your inbox, and that's all that I am concerned with. That's the only reason I'm asking.
CAO?
If I can respond just to that, the signal that you're seeing on the list, is that related to the, you made a comment on Monday about what the different organizations do, who they are? Was that the one, or was there something else on there? Okay.
Regardless.
Okay. We can talk about that.
The picture I see is bigger than
Okay.
who's doing what.
Yeah. There are some things on my list, and I know we don't have a
No,
lot of
go
time.
ahead.
There are some things on my list that I'm in complete control of, and there are some things on my list that I'm not. And some of those things are, for instance, Councillor McIsaac asked me something. I don't even think it's on my list. It may be. It may be in that report, but it's about chairpersons and authorities and so on. Well, I've reached out to the managers and I've asked them to respond to me. And if I don't get those responses in a timely manner, that item drags on my list. And so that's an indication of how busy they are as well. So everything that drags on that list is not necessarily because I'm all that busy. I mean, I am busy, but it is also an indication that the people who support this whole enterprise are also busy.
Good? Councillor Landrill?
Thank you very much, Your Worship, and I'm quite aware, too, of how busy the CAOs, and I've got items on that list as well, and I think it's a priority thing. One thing I have found that if there's something very pressing or something I do need, it's often just a quick email to the CAO or just a drop-in visit, and the answer is very quickly. I will say that 99.999% of the time I've had absolutely no problem getting information on a timely fashion. But I'll admit sometimes my requests can be a little bizarre and a really low priority. So, and I understand that fully. It's something that he's only so many hours in the day, he works weekends, etc. So I echo that. But on the other hand, I think in this one, I see this as this whole motion as a priority thing. I really think we do have a number of people using the service, and whether it's one person or 10,000 trips being done, we have to make sure a service of some kind is here. And we are committed to a service because we just approved the RFP, or at least to go to the next step to get a good, safe, secure service operating. So we've made that commitment, and I don't think any of us around this table want to deprive any of our residents of a service after May the 1st. And that's the reason for the two motions, was to put it on the book so the CAO knows the intent and he knows what to do. And I don't see him spending a lot of time. Just to get the facts, let us know what he wants us to do, what's workable, and how much is it going to cost, and where are we going from here.
So is there another motion on the floor? This is the one correct for the... Okay, Councillor McIsaac?
Just a quick follow-up on that, Your Worship. If the word direct the CAO to negotiate? Is that the word you're using? Because I'd rather not have the CAO negotiate any funding or anything like that. I'm quite comfortable with what Mr. Hutt is receiving now. I think it's quite fair for the amount of service that he is supplying, and he is supplying a service. We agreed to that some time ago, but if we're looking at, I know that he would probably want more, but I don't think we're there yet. If we want to just keep this service, if he wants to supply the service that he's supplying now, I have no problem with that, but
Sorry, if I just want to interrupt for
Okay.
a second. This discussion in terms of what we're prepared to do and what we're not prepared to do in the context of paying for that service should be held in camera, because we're kind of throwing our cards out here.
I'm not giving an amount or anything, though.
No, but what I'm saying is if you want to direct me in terms of what you want to, where you want to see this thing land,
Oh, okay.
I'd feel more comfortable inside.
Okay, I'll go with that.
And just further on this, Your Worship, I see any discussions with any agency or any group is well within the parameters of the CAO. He has got the authority that we've given him to expend amounts under $25,000, $24,999. So we're looking at a month-to-month service of some kind from some agency. I mean, that's what we're looking at. And Holly is just making recommendations. I think he is going to come back and tell us, this is what I see realistically happening here. This is how the drama unfolds. Because as a counselor, all I know is what I read in the Yarmouth Vanguard and what I've seen in some correspondence. That's it. I don't know. So it's these questions, I think we need to get that information and then a recommendation of what's the next step. And I mean, that's all that we're asking. So it's not an unreasonable task. I think it's a priority.
Okay, so motion's on the floor. Question's been called. All those in favor? Aye. Contrary? Motion carried. Transit, Councillor McIsaac, are you good? Did we cover that one? Okay. Doug Melanson Park, Councillor Mooney.
Thank you, Your Worship. And maybe just a little help from Jeff. Myself and Councillor Langell, as Chair of the Communities in Bloom, will be going to a meeting on April the 17th with the Milton Improvement Society, and I'd just like permission from the CEO if you can invite Rodney and Tracy to the meeting. I'd like to have, I don't know if I need a motion, I'd like to have a map of the area and some present pictures, please. Or a diagram ID. Yeah.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah. I think I'd like to have the map, but I'd like to have Tracy there just for an insurance on people asking about distances and things. So I think I'd like to have her there as a resource person in case of questions asked by April the 17th. I think it's in the morning, and Carol, we're supposed to get a hold of myself or Ken, so we'll be. It's in the morning, yeah. But I'd like to have her just there as a resource person in case there's any questions about distances or setbacks. I think the meeting's going to be at Yarmouth North Baptist Church.
Okay, good, done. Councillor Dawes?
No, I'm fine.
Okay,
I'm fine, thank you very much. I was just going to, I found out it's in the morning, because I have written on here that, that we're meeting that day, and we're going to finalize the budget. But then again, there have been a lot of changes on our calendars, so that's why I wanted to double check. 17th of April, Thursday.
good, okay.
Jerry's looking a
Good,
little
Jeff, with that?
confused.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Ken, you good with that? You're good with that?
Skate park,
Just,
CAO?
no, it's just going to say, the April 17th evening meeting is the rescheduled council meeting,
Yeah.
and the budget, of course, is on there.
Yeah, exactly.
And a skateboard park, just for information, Your Worship, I've had a couple concerns from down there, and I know the timers, we've had a problem with the timers, and then somebody said that the lights aren't going on at all now, so
Got me too.
maybe if we can, you can check with Dave and put an update on the website, but I think I've had 3 inquiries about that, and I think one was a burnt out light, and I passed that on to Sabrina, and I think the other one was the timing of the lights.
So, okay. Go
Okay,
ahead.
the most recent I have on that, and I will check on that, Thank you for that. The most recent I had on that is that the skateboard park lights, and this was yesterday, have been programmed to come on at 7:30 p.m., just before dusk, and turn off at 11 p.m., which is our closing time.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
And
Okay.
you'll double check with Dave on the working situation. I'd like to have it, if at all possible, posted on the website, just to say that things are up and at 'em, ready to go.
I have a question. Can we can still send people to See Click Fix?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Festival events that do you remember what it was?
Oh, we discussed that the other day, Your Worship.
Oh, okay.
On what's today? Wednesday, Monday.
Monday, okay, good. And I just added downtown merchants, and simply because the ship's coming, and there's nothing to, I'd like to do a meeting of downtown merchants and businesses, just to see where they are, what we expect, what they expect to be doing. Are they going to be open, are they not? So I'd like to do that, if we can do it as a council together and ask them to come in or do it somewhere and just see where we are, because we've got a lot of visitors coming. Some businesses say they're gonna be open, some businesses say they aren't, and I would like to see where we are and kinda pull that all together. Well, I don't know, I'm just seeing if everybody's all right with that. Go ahead, Councillor.
Well, Your Worship, I don't know, I'm kind of just wondering, I mean, is that a council thing to find out when they're going to be open, when they're not going to be open? I mean, what purpose will it serve us to know that? I mean, as far as me as being a councillor, am I going to be down and meet and greeting people, say, go to Joe Blow's or eat at
No.
Joe's? It's open from 7 to
No.
11?
No, here's the idea, that if we have visitors coming, it would be nice if everyone were on the same page. And we all know that people aren't going to wander on Main Street if two businesses are open. So if we can get everyone in the same room and say, this really is what we're aiming for, are you willing to be a part of it? So, and I've had those discussions with Play On as
okay.
well, like just to get,
Yeah.
just so people in the town understand, if you're not open, it's just not going to work.
But are we going to suggest to them that they stay open, or don't they know their businesses, or perhaps maybe they should put a sign in their window giving their hours of operation? I don't know. It just
we can
seems
do
kind of different for a councillor, me to sit around the table and dictate to business people how they should run their business.
We're not gonna dictate.
No. But I mean, we're not. But
We just need, okay.
I don't know the
And if you don't
reasoning.
want to do it as a council, that's fine.
No,
I'll do it
I'm not
myself,
saying
but-
that. You're asking council opinion. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
definitely.
asking questions,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing where you're going with this,
Yeah.
that's all. And if it's a good thing, I have no problem meeting with anybody, but I'm just looking at it and saying, where are we going here, that's all.
I don't think, no, it's a good question. I don't think it's us telling anybody what to do. It's to get the businesses in the same room and saying, I don't think anybody's talking. And quite frankly, it may not be our job, but if nobody else is doing it, then somebody has to. And I'm not, I mean, I'll just put it out there and say, let's get together. What are you thinking? And we can say what we're looking at. And honestly, Play On comes to mind. And I went to a couple businesses that closed at 5 o'clock, and I was completely blown away. I said, but 5 o'clock? Well, they're done playing hockey at 5 o'clock. That's when they're spending all their money. So can we be open so that when these visitors come, they're saying, you know, we're going to be open? Councillor Dawes, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think it's a great idea. I will support it. I think if I don't have a retail store on Main Street, Stars Road, or anywhere, but you're right, it's not our job as council.
No, it's
But I think as fellow citizens and people that are if anybody is not going to take the time to support the boat that's coming in, and our fellow businesses here in town, then that's a sad state. So whatever if you do, whenever, the businesses do decide to get together, you let me know. I will be there to support. I'm sure that through Councillor Dennis and also Deputy Mayor McLeod, they're on. They know more. They know all of their fellow retailers on Main Street. I'm sure that they can organize that.
Good.
I think it's a great idea. It'll pull them all together. They are speaking amongst themselves, but not all as a group. And I know, I hope you're going to back me up on this, but I know that they are looking forward to this.
Yep, good. Councillor Langill, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think it's a great idea personally. I don't mind my suggestion. I think what I see unfolding is for council to just have an invitation here for a get-together some evening, very informal, similar to what we've done in the past when we've had issues like this. Invite the different representatives of the town, maybe use the Chamber of Commerce as a conduit to simply say, hey, we'd like to have a meeting of all the merchants to kind of share ideas, strategies, what they'd like to see us do in the downtown, and maybe come in with some advice, et cetera, and let them come for that. And I think just do a very simple get-together. Ideally, and I hear what Councillor McIsaac is saying, this is something that the Chamber of Commerce should in actuality be doing. I'm going to be very, very blunt here. Your Worship, you've done a tremendous, commendable job. You know, and many of the councillors have worked hard here as well, but I don't hear a lot coming out of the Chamber. You know what I mean? We have a Chamber of Commerce that represents the business community. They are the businesses. I get emails, and I'm a member of the Chamber, as I know you are, Your Worship. But I'll be honest, I am a little disappointed that there's not a more proactivity there in taking the lead in something as significant as this huge ferry service coming to our community. They should be the points people. They should be the individuals that should be doing this. They should be using their resources to get the people. I hear what Councillor McIsaac is saying, and I think we'll have to agree. I don't have any really say as a politician in how they run their business, but the Chamber of Commerce is the businessmen together, and we go to their luncheons and it's their social, but they're the ones that need to be taking, I think, a little bit more aggression in this thing. I mean, really the only thing I've heard from the Nova Star that the Chamber is doing is they're putting out $1 or a $10 coin, and they're going to be making money from it. Okay, well, maybe a portion of that money should be going back into the community. Where is that money going? Is part of it going to go back into the community? Maybe fix up some of these storefronts, you know, or whatever. You know, I mean, this is something that we constantly are being doing this stuff, and I think there are so many groups and agencies out there that need to step up to the plate too and take a lead. And Your Worship, I'd like to encourage you seriously to sit down with the president of the Chamber and say, hey, this is something we would like you to do as the chair of the Chamber. We'll give you town hall. We'll give you the space. You take the lead. You come in here. You as mayor introduce Karen and say, okay, Karen, let's get this together. Let's as businessmen sit down and go for it. That's the direction I see going, because oftentimes they're expecting us as politicians. And Your Worship, with all due respect, your plate is jam-packed, as many of ours are, and how much more can you put on the bloody plate? And this is a priority, we know it. But let the Chamber, I think it's time that the Chamber step up a little bit here.
Okay, I will have that conversation. It's a good point. And you're right, the plates are full. And I'll say that the plates are full because somebody's got to do it. Exactly. And so I will have that conversation. I just want to bring it here just to see what the thoughts were. We really need to engage somebody needs to engage the businesses, because we're going to have 2 or 3 businesses open on Main Street and nobody going downtown because of it. Councillor Dennis, go ahead, and then you can go.
Yeah, I just wanted to say also, too, the Chamber of Commerce has done something that's great, too. They're offering customer service training, which is very valuable to all of Yarmouth.
Very, very valuable. And you know what I'll say to that? As long as the right people go to it. That's right. And I'm not being disrespectful, but I have had that conversation as well, because sometimes the people that need to go just don't go. And we keep going into the same places and getting the same. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to say about that customer service training too. Sometimes the hard part with small businesses, mom and pop businesses, is you can't afford to let your staff go to some things because you're very shorthanded as it is, because times are tough. A lot of businesses just have been hanging on for the past few years, so you have to realize that as well.
Yep, good point. You sure?
And I don't want to prolong it, but I think it's a point that Councilor Dennis brought up, and it's a good point. That is but it is done through the community college. It is a grant that the community college got for a fair chunk of change, so it's kind of they're doing it. But again, and you brought up an excellent point, we have a tendency for these sort of things to do it during working hours. We need to accommodate our businesses more. If we got to do this from 6 in the morning till 9 in the morning, or we do it in the evening, but by golly, people want to work school teachers' hours. You know, and it's not how you do business, folks. I mean, Jim McLeod wouldn't be where he is today if he worked school teachers' hours, I'll tell you that, and neither would many of us in this room. So I really think, and you're right, Sandy, absolutely dead on, but the message has got to get out there, because I've been hearing from businesses, I can't take this course because you're doing it during my working hours, and I only got work 2 people. So, by golly, if you got to do it on a Sunday, you do it on a Sunday. And if you got to do it in the evening or early in the morning, you do it in the evening and early in the morning. You've got to accommodate business as much as you can, and this is something that's not happening enough. You know, we're expecting businesses to be open, but the people doing the courses aren't open during the time we want them open. What's wrong with that picture?
I'll have that conversation too at the same time. Yeah, it's a good point. Okay, so we're good? Is there anything else on the agenda? You're done did you add it at the appropriate time?
Ken, new fire hall.
That ought to take 30 seconds.
Okay, I just wanted to bring this up because I had a phone call about our next council meeting, and particularly the public hearing that will be earlier that evening. So the public hearing, the council meeting is scheduled for April the 17th, which is the evening before Good Friday, and referred to sometimes as Holy Thursday. The concern that that was raised to me is that with these items, which it is the opportunity for public input, that having it on such a day or evening may not allow everyone to participate. The concern was particularly around the issue of the rezoning of the 6 feet of the land that we've sold to the private developer, the 6 feet rezoning that from low density, from open space to low density R1. So the question is to you guys, I'm seeking direction here, is do we proceed with the public hearing on that matter on April the 17th or not? It has been advertised, we can pull the ads and reschedule, or do we proceed as has been planned? I am going to suggest that we do proceed with a public hearing on the other matters at least.
Agree. Sorry, I guess that's, we've got to vote, but go ahead, Councillor Langell.
I say just go ahead and do it, and it's on the plate. But you did remind me, CAO, are we still having our committee of the whole meeting at the end of April? Is that still, that would be the one on the 24th, yes. Is it okay with council if we have a water utility meeting just before that, so that we could get the budget looked after and a few other little matters? Or are you not going to be, is people not going to be here on the 24th? I'll be here. Is there an issue with the 24th?
No issue, he won't be here, but.
Yeah. Okay,
Good.
pardon? Okay. Anyway, so I was just saying, we haven't had a utility meeting in a while, so if we could do that maybe at 12 o'clock, do the utility meeting at 12 till whenever, is that possible? And it shouldn't take more than an hour. Okay, is that okay? Thanks.
Yeah, anybody adverse to that? Because it works. Okay, so you're good?
April 24 when?
At noon for water utility on the 24th. What's that? Don't dare to repeat yourself? Okay, good, that's a smart move. Okay, so are we good? Anything else? Motion to adjourn? Good job, everyone, okay.
Your microphone was not on. That's right.
Guess we're staying.
I made motions without your